Alright, what's up everyone? Today is January 5th, 2026. We're starting off today's walking tour from Lower Manhattan. We're looking at the beautiful Freedom Tower, or the World Trade Center. You can see the American flag and the New York State flag right in front of us. And we are also standing outside of the Oculus. Now, the Oculus is a massive transit hub. Here you can not only get the New York City subway, but you could also get the PATH train that will take you out to New Jersey. On tonight's walking tour, we're going to be going all the way around by the Manhattan courthouses, because today, January 5th, 2026, was the first day that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro appeared before a judge in a Manhattan courtroom in Lower Manhattan. It was quite the hectic and quite the rowdy day in Manhattan. Traffic was backed up for miles, huge security apparatuses throughout the entire city, and of course, protesters. There were protesters in support of all sides. Hundreds of people descended on Lower Manhattan. And we're going to go check out the media section and see if there's still any camera crews or anything exciting going on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is the Cortlandt Street station, where you can get the R and W trains. I always love getting this shot right before you enter the Oculus here, looking up at One World Trade Center. Now, there's also an interesting thing to note about the Oculus, is that if you want to cross all the way over by the Hudson River, I would say crossing over to the west side of West Street to get to the Hudson River. Also, there's many notable offices over there, such as Wall Street megabank Goldman Sachs is over at 200 West Street. You also have the corporate offices of American Express. If it's a little windy or if it's too cold, you could actually walk all the way underground. The way you do that is you enter the Oculus right here, walk all the way to the back on the ground floor where the PATH train is, and don't go into the entrance of the PATH train. Just keep walking down that corridor, and it'll bring you to an underground passageway where you'll come up at Brookfield Place, which is another really luxurious mall. So not a lot of people know about that. So if you want an easy way to cross under the highway out of the exposure of the elements, you can cross via the underground passageway to Brookfield Place. This is now the M Social Hotel. This hotel is a little bit dated, though. I've actually stayed here. It does have pretty good views looking right at the World Trade Center, but it is quite the dated hotel. We're now walking up Fulton Street. There's been a lot of changes in Lower Manhattan. Most people, if you think about Lower Manhattan, you think about Wall Street, Broad Street, a lot of financial activity. But very seldom does a lot of financial activity actually happen at the New York Stock Exchange anymore, and in and around Wall Street itself. A lot of the big investment banks have since migrated uptown. I would even consider that the real Wall Street in New York City resides on Park Avenue and Midtown East, in and around Manhattan. All the major investment banks, particularly the 270 Park Avenue, JP Morgan Chase headquarters, is located right on Park. And now you have plans for 350 Park Avenue, which is going to be the brand new headquarters of Citadel and Citadel Securities. Their temporary headquarters is in that new 425 Park Avenue building, but lots of hedge funds, family offices, private equity are all up and down Park. We're now at the corner of Fulton Street and Broadway, and right here, this is a relatively new Fulton Street terminal. This is like a state-of-the-art subway terminal, but unfortunately much of the stores and the shops in here have been closed down due to theft and looting and things like that. It's pretty empty in here. There is a Dunkin' Donuts that I believe is open 24/7, but inside, not too much going on. We'll wait for the light because I want to take you down to William Street, and I want to show everybody one of my favorite condo projects that's gone up in Lower Manhattan. But in any event, there used to be a massive bulge bracket German investment bank on Wall Street that sat at 60 Wall Street. I'll quickly pop you in here so you can see. But Deutsche Bank has now even left their headquarters in Lower Manhattan and have chose to move uptown at the old AOL Time Warner Center, which is now called Deutsche Bank Center. That also houses the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. Here you can see we're inside the Fulton Street subway station. Looks very futuristic, but a lot of the retail here is completely shuttered. Particularly if you walk up and down Water Street, if you're familiar with Lower Manhattan, I would say if you start at the South Ferry Terminal, which is the last stop on the 1 train, and you walk Water Street all the way to Wall Street, you'll notice a lot of those office buildings that used to be absolutely packed. Many of them have been converted into residential housing. Not necessarily condominiums, but rental residential housing. And Lower Manhattan is actually the highest concentration anywhere in the city for office to residential conversions, and that is due to the zoning rules and regulations here in Lower Manhattan that makes it a very conducive environment for those conversions. A few notable ones, I mean, all throughout Hanover Square you'll see it, but particularly 95 Wall Street, which is right on the corner of Wall and Water. It looks like an office building from the outside, but they're all luxury residential rentals, apartments there. It's quite interesting how the demographics of neighborhoods and even the use cases of neighborhoods can change over the years. This is now the corner of Nassau Street, and you have a Joe's Pizza location. This one is always packed, but not as packed as the Joe's location as you head over towards Times Square. We're also close to the campus of Pace University. Pace is a very good business school. If you look closely in the distance, you can see a little bit of the Brooklyn Bridge. Where I'm taking you all now is the corner of William Street, and we're going to check out one of my favorite condo buildings in New York City called 130 William. It's such a unique project, and I really like the architectural integrity of the facade. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about in a minute. Has these really nice arched windows really great views, and in 2023 it was one of the best-selling condo buildings in New York City. Oh wow, I didn't know they had yet another location of Luckin Coffee. So this must now be the 8th location of Luckin Coffee that I've seen in the city. I've never been to the one on Fulton Street, so it's cool that we're seeing it now. For those of you who don't know, we've talked about this company almost to the point of ad nauseum here. It's a Chinese coffee company that competes with Starbucks. It is a very, very affordable coffee chain, and I'm seeing this big trend in not only New York City but across the United States of these Chinese companies coming in and competing with American brands. Another one is called Mixue, M-I-X-U-E. That should be on everybody's radar. It's actually the largest fast food chain in the world with over 50,000 restaurants. It's a franchisee model. It has more locations globally than McDonald's. Okay, everybody. Here we are. This is the main, I guess you could say, courtyard or corridor of 130 William. You have one retail anchor tenant, which is a flower shop slash coffee house. And if I point the camera towards the very, very top of the building, you can see exactly what I was talking about with those arched windows. The amenity package at 130 William is quite impressive too. You have an indoor basketball court, you have an indoor swimming pool, an indoor sauna, a hot tub, a cold plunge, a full gym, media room, but the courtyard outside is open to the public. Let me know if you like the design on the windows, though. These are very big, arched windows. And recently, I'd say about a year ago, they finally found a tenant for the retail, which is this really nice coffee shop slash flower shop combination. It's called Remy Flowers and Coffee. That's really nice for the residents of 130 William. You know, if you're working from home or something, you come down and grab a quick coffee before you start your day. So check it out. Do a little bit of research on this building. It's very, very successful, and I do like the architecture here. If we were to make a left here, this will bring you all the way down to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve here in Lower Manhattan has some of the world's largest gold reserves. We won't go all the way down there tonight because we do have to double back and go all the way to the courthouses.
She ordered chicken and so I've known.
I'd say the summer is probably the best to visit Lower Manhattan because you can enjoy the South Street Seaport. The Seaport's beautiful. It's right on the water. You have great views of the Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge. You have the brand new Tin Building, which is by Jean Georges. This is now the corner of John Street, and on the corner of John Street, you'll be able to see the Federal Reserve building. I'll quickly just zoom up on it, which is right here. But we, again, like I said, we won't go all the way down tonight. We'll save that for a different video. And then on the corner of John and William, again, you could see pretty good picture-perfect shot of the spire of the World Trade Center.
You're not the owner of a pet, like it's not your toy. It's like, no, like I'm here complaining.
We're now walking all the way to the end of John Street. And once we get to Broadway, we'll make that right. And then we'll continue all the way up. And we'll see if they still have a lot of the media frenzy out. Now, when the president and his wife left the courthouse today in Lower Manhattan, he was taken with the full security apparatus by the NYPD, the DHS, the FBI, back to Brooklyn, New York, where he and his wife will stay at the Brooklyn Detention Center. Also, the alleged killer of the United Healthcare CEO, his name is Luigi Mangione, apparently is also being housed there as well. Okay, now we're back to Broadway, as well as back to the main Fulton Street Center. So this is where I showed you guys at the beginning of the video. But now we'll go ahead and make a right. If we were to make a left on Fulton Street right here, everyone, it would take us all the way to the cross section of Wall Street and right outside of Zuccotti Park. And I've talked about it in many videos prior, but Zuccotti Park was really ground zero for the Occupy Wall Street protests after the 2008 global financial crisis. There's a really good mini documentary series that I always recommend everybody watch. It was by Reason TV, was the producer back then. And it was in collaboration with the CEO and founder of Euro Pacific Capital, as well as Euro Pacific Bank, Peter Schiff. And the mini doc series was called I Am the 1%. And it was essentially Peter Schiff going down to the protests and talking with the protesters, having conversations with them, and debating the original cause of the 2008 financial crisis. It's a very, very interesting and well done video. This is now the corner of Broadway and Fulton Street. And again, you have great shot of the World Trade Center. There's an observation deck at the top. Maybe I'll have to go up there and film it for everybody. But what I was going to say is if you keep going past Zuccotti Park, you'll run into Trinity Church, which is one of the most historic churches in all of New York City. I would say even more historic than St. Patrick's Cathedral. And then you'll run into this, right adjacent to Trinity Church is a big building called 1 Wall Street. And 1 Wall Street, so far, is the largest office to condo conversion in New York City history. However, there's a few slight details about that I'll explain. Now, the developer on that deal is Harry Macklow. You might recognize Harry Macklow from 432 Park Avenue. That is the ultra-luxury condo building that is on New York City's Billionaires Row, right on the corner of 57th Street and Park. Well, really in between Park and Madison Avenue. But in any event, 1 Wall Street is a nice project, but here's the thing. There's so many units in there. There's about 580 condo units in the building, and Macklow went all out. The same exact kitchens that are in 432 Park Avenue are in 1 Wall Street. So in terms of the overall prices, oh, look at this Tesla taxi. In any event, in terms of the overall prices, like price per square foot, it's priced very high for Lower Manhattan. You can't try to command the pricing of a Billionaires Row here in Lower Manhattan. It's just not going to work. So the building hasn't really been selling as well as expected. I think if they went a little bit less all out in terms of the fixtures and the finishes and priced it a little bit more affordable, it would have sold better. Because you have to think about exclusivity. If you're in New York City luxury real estate and you're talking to clients, if a client is going to drop $5 million plus on an apartment, they want something that's relatively unique and bespoke, particularly with emphasis on having a bespoke product. So maybe you'll want a 1 of 100, a 1 of 50, but do you really want to pay up for a 1 of 580? Probably not. You know, at that level, you're looking for secrecy, you're looking for exclusivity, and you don't really want to live in a massive building like that. Also, it is an Art Deco building that's been converted from an office, so the ceiling heights are rather low, and the windows are quite narrow, so it doesn't let in a bunch of natural light. In any event, I filmed a property tour of one of the penthouses up here at 5 Beekman Place. You got to check it out. This was actually one of the penthouses that was used in Gossip Girl. You can go back on our channel and look at it. In any event, we're now walking up Broadway, and you guys are about to see City Hall. This is where Zohran Mamdani had his inauguration. He is now the new, I was about to say the new president, the new mayor of New York City, now that it is 2026, is Zohran Mamdani. This is Park Place. Right now we're walking past. I'll take a brief shortcut for you guys through the park so you can see it. It's really beautiful in this park because you have a nice backdrop of City Hall in the spring and in the summer. The fountain is on. It's really beautiful. And I also like this picture-perfect view. You have a 5 Spruce Street. This is another very unique building in Lower Manhattan. This is residential building, which has great views. Again, 5 Spruce Street. Then here you'll be able to see City Hall. We won't be able to get super close to the City Hall building, but architecturally speaking, it's really beautiful. It's a nice looking building. We'll get as close as these barricades and then we'll sort of back off. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully one day I'll be able to explore inside of it. Never been inside before. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of security. Like you see a little NYPD booth just off to my left. So we'll go ahead and exit the park, and we are going to veer off to the left. So I'm going to make a left here. And you guys are going to be able to see a few things, okay? You're going to be able to see Pace University. You're going to see the main campus of Pace. And then number two, you're going to see the on-ramp to the Brooklyn Bridge, both the vehicle on-ramp and the pedestrian on-ramp, in addition to the bike on-ramp. It's going to be some great-looking views, too, tonight. They raised the fare for the subway now, so it's $3. And they even raised the fare for the Metro North. It used to be off-peak ticket was $8.75. Now it's about $9 for an off-peak ticket. All right, here you have the main campus of New York City's Pace University. As I mentioned before, Pace has a really good business school. And once we get past this light post, I'll zoom up on all the traffic of the Brooklyn Bridge. It is rush hour, so you're going to see traffic lined up almost in like a gridlock fashion. And there it is. Looks really pretty, especially the American flag waving in the breeze on top of the Brooklyn Bridge. Lots of halal carts, hot dog vendors and the like. And this is where you would enter if you'd like to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. It doesn't look too crowded today, but despite the cold, there are seemingly a lot of tourists walking across the bridge. And this is the Brooklyn Bridge City Hall station. You can get the 4, 5, 6, and J trains here. But you'll notice a massive difference in architecture down here, especially as we approach Chambers Street. As you do a little compare and contrast from like Midtown Manhattan to Lower Manhattan. I'd say Lower Manhattan is much more architecturally pleasing. For example, look at this. Okay, we have the light. We're now crossing Chambers Street and Center Street. We're going to cross again. And finally, I will take everybody to where Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife appeared before a judge at roughly 12 o'clock noon today. You can still see, lots of police presence down here. This is the David Dinkins Municipal Building that we're walking past. And I always love this cityscape view here, especially of the spire of the World Trade Center. Now, in this building just off to the left, this is where they give out a lot of the civil service tests in New York City. So if you ever wondered if you wanted a job at NYPD, FDNY, something like that, you would have to take what's called a civil service examination. And they're given out right here. This is where I took my NYPD test like a billion years ago, right in this building. Oftentimes the waits can be 5 years plus just to get called for the NYPD Police Academy. This is now Reed Street, St. Andrews Plaza. And these are all the main courthouses in Lower Manhattan. So if you love architecture, you're going to love this section we're walking past right now. It's gorgeous. This is the United States Courthouse here. I believe Elon Musk had a court case here a few years ago. And now we're crossing Pearl Street. Oftentimes for tourists, Lower Manhattan can be a little bit confusing to navigate because Midtown Manhattan is super easy because it's a traditional grid system. Here, it can get a little squirrely. Now, as I turn around, check out this picture-perfect shot of the spire of One World Trade Center. It's a gorgeous shot. And just kind of reminisce for a minute just how peaceful this is down here. right. And now the moment that everybody's been waiting for. Right here on Worth Street. This is where you have, well, had the first appearance at the Courthouse. This was a zoo down here this morning. I wanted to come down here and stream it live, but unfortunately I had other obligations. It will be interesting to see if there's still a big media presence here. I think there'll be a slight media presence. That big building you see sticking up in the distance right here, everyone, this is One Manhattan Square. That was developed by Xtel. That's the same developer who pioneered New York City's Billionaires Row on 57th Street. Oh, here we go. Does seem like this is now Worth Street and Baxter Street, everybody. So we do have a pretty big media presence still. And these are the exact doors that Nicolas Maduro walked through today. Pretty incredible. 500 Pearl Street. And check out all the media presence. You still have quite a few news crews outside. Let's do one full walk around and we'll check everything out. Again, this is the corner of Baxter Street. Sign says NYPD Diddy. Oh, God. Yeah, but earlier, this was just a madhouse here. There's still a big media presence.
I think like
So you can see they mark everything here. I believe this is Telemundo set up. Looks like they're doing a live broadcast. It's cool to see all the behind the scenes, because this is what we're watching on TV, and this is kind of what the setup looks like. All the camera equipment. It's a big operation. Oh, these guys are from Miami. NBC Miami is here, which makes sense. There's a huge presence. This is NBC News Channel. You even had more over here. You can only imagine how crazy it was this morning. Do one more sweep just so you guys could see, but in the distance this is 56 Leonard. That's the Jenga building in Tribeca. This is the corner of Mulberry Street. As this case proceeds, this is going to be pretty crazy down here. I give it to the reporters though, because it is very cold and windy, and these guys and girls have been out here pretty much all day. I was going to cut through the park, but we are unable to. This is where pretty much a lot of the protesters were standing. You had like AP News here, the protesters, but it looks like we're going to have to go around the park. I'll give you one more shot of the main courthouse where Nicolas Maduro was today, and then we'll heading to New York City's Chinatown. It looks like the park's closed off. I was going to go there so I don't have to walk through this place twice, but we'll do it anyway.
Yes. How old are you?
Inside this room, you have the courthouse over today. It was jotted down extensive notes he wished proposed. The highway engineer and
Oh, I think he's live right now. I think all this is cool, this audio visual setup. I try to talk quiet. I don't want to interrupt his broadcast, but you're seeing it live. If you're watching this, you are essentially seeing them broadcast right from here. And it is freezing out here. It is absolutely freezing. I definitely hand it to these people for being out. Man, it is windy. This is now the corner of Mott Street and Worth Street. Make a quick left here. I'll probably go get some dinner right as the broadcast ends. And here's WoHop. WoHop is great. Wow, look at that.
Paul's not even in.
he came like to check on something for me. He does like all the hand work.
All right, everybody. That concludes the walking tour for tonight. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. And as always, we will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.